obviously not for essential work, which they can do now, but for leisure, holidays, to see family, will that be at 70% or 80%?
Well, positively, they're the issues that we're discussing at the moment. So we're looking at all the things that we would love people to do at 70% double dose. And that's an option on the table. The Deputy Premier and I and the health team have actually been discussing this in the last 48 hours. So can I just confirm, following that question, the New South Wales Government, in conjunction with our health experts and agencies across the board, is working on finalising our roadmap on what 70% double dose looks like, what 80% double dose looks like. And we know that at 80% double dose, we have a keen eye about international travel, about welcoming home more Australians through Sydney Airport. We have to accept living with COVID is a reality. It's not an option. And any state premier who thinks it's an option, unfortunately, is not considering what the real world experience is. And the real world experience is all of us as Australians, no matter where we live at some time, it might not be today or next week, but all of us as Australians have to accept that living with COVID is the future. It's not an option. It's not an option that any of us like, but it's an option we have to confront, and it's an option we have to support our citizens work their way through. So in relation to when regional tourism and when tourism across the state can start taking shape, we're certainly looking at those options for 70% double dose, and we'll take the advice of the health experts.
The Queensland Premier has raised concerns about children when you open up at 70 and 80%, leaving children exposed. How concerned are you about that? And have you looked at modelling or looked to overseas to see what is happening in that age?
Oh, look, certainly we're presented with information from our public health experts all the time. But as I said, there are only 2 places on the planet at the moment that have 80% double dose vaccination in their adult population. So if we get to that level, that is a huge achievement for Australia. And secondly, as you know, we will have an intensive program to vaccinate 12 to 15-year-olds. So every time you click over an extra percentage of people vaccinated, it protects those younger children. In fact, the obviously serious disease can affect anybody of any age, but less so the younger somebody is, and that's what the health experts tell us all the time. But certainly we should all follow what the conventional advice is that's provided to us through highly reputable organisations like the Doherty Institute and like our federal and state medical officers, and the advice to us is what we can do clearly when 80% of the adult population is double dosed. But in New South Wales, we'll also be working, depending on the supply of vaccine, to vaccinate 12 to 15-year-olds, and that will give all of us, especially younger children, that added layer of protection. Who hasn't asked a question yet?
When we are looking at that 70 and 80% vaccination doses, are you going to be looking at that as a state figure, or will you be looking at it in areas of breakdown in terms of, you know, if a certain area hasn't got to 70%, will it be the whole state is still in less?
Look, as much as possible, that's why, and the Deputy Premier certainly does this with the regions, we keep a keen eye on seeing how every local government area is doing, seeing how every part of our state is doing. And we would love to see the state move forward together. And generally speaking, most areas are. There are some that are doing very much above that and some that are doing below that. And if a particular area isn't doing as well as others, we ask why is that the case and what can we do to address that. So we're very much mindful that we want to bring the state forward together. We're very keen to make sure that when we provide opportunities for people that are vaccinated, it will be, you know, across the state for simplicity, but also in terms of the fact that when vaccinated people come together, the risk of getting COVID and spreading COVID vastly decreases. And we know from one shot you get protection, double dose you get extra protection, but when you have people coming together who are completely vaccinated, the risk of spreading disease and the risk of hospitalisation massively declines. So as much as possible, we'd like everybody to move forward together. We acknowledge that there are some communities that we have to put more concentrated effort into, and that's why it gives me great joy when we look at the local government areas of concern. Some of them had vaccination rates as low as 19% first dose, and now those same local government areas are 65% and higher, which is very encouraging. So we are working now because obviously hitting the double dose 70% we envisage will happen around mid-October. So we have between now and then to really focus on those communities who may not be travelling as well as others and really try and get that rate up as high as possible. But I'd love to see, once we get to 70% double dose during today, single dose during the day, as Dr. Chant has said, we're keeping a keen eye to see how quickly we can get to 80% first dose, because the more people that are vaccinated, at least with one dose by the time we open up, gives everybody that extra layer of protection.